sexual. Some people are straight, and some people are gay. Maybe I'm just sexual. 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 Some prefer the top, and some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. We're all just sexual. Sexual. Yeah. Hey, we're not in the 60s, but yet we're talking about the same things. So why are we having these same discussions? It's so interesting that you find it fascinating who I'm sleeping with and what I'm doing. Why do we all need these labels? Your character is all that matters to me. You shouldn't let ideology invade us. Make you stop loving family and friends. Some people are straight. Ooh, yeah. Some people are gay. Ooh, yeah. Maybe I'm just sexual. 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 Some prefer the top, and some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. We're all just sexual. We're all just sexual. Some people are straight. Ooh, yeah. Some people are gay. Oh, yeah. Baby, I'm just sexual. Baby, I'm just sexual. Sexual. Ooh, yeah. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the bottom. Some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. But we're all just sexual. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why do we all need these labels? Is he gay or straight or somewhere in between? Yeah. Don't let ideology and labels make you treat your brother or your sister differently. Yeah. Some people are straight. Some people are straight. Some people are gay. Some people are gay. Maybe I'm just sexual. Maybe I'm just sexual. Sexual. I'm just sexual. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the bottom. Some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. We're all just sexual. Sexual. Some people are straight. Some people are gay. Some people are gay. Some people are straight. Maybe I'm just sexual. I'm just sexual, baby. Sexual. I don't need a label. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the bottom.
What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? Everyone, happy new year. Happy 2023. I hope that you guys had an amazing New Year's. We have some nice things happening here on BubzDaGawd, a little bit of upgrades and stuff visually. I'm going to lean more so into like the commentary reaction type of field. It's just easier for me. And I feel like I can use those as springboard conversation. So anyway, hope that you all are doing well. Let's see who's in the chat right now. Hey, Miss Ann, what's going on, Miss Ann? Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody that comes through, whether you stay for the entire read-through of this live, whether you're just peeking in, whether you're in the bushes, doesn't matter. Welcome. Welcome me, welcome you, okay? Before we get into chapter 6 and chapter 7, which we will then, or shall I say, we therefore will complete part 1 before we go into part 2 of The Cross in the Closet. Again, if you want to read along with me, or if you just want to read it in general, the link for the book is in the description box below. You can either get the ebook like I have or buy the actual tangible physical book as well. But before we jump into here, you know we always gotta dot our I's and cross our T's, right? So with that being said, every time I do this, I never have this pulled up on my phone like I should, even though I already have a tab open up. Let's get into it. Where's it at? Disclaimer. Yes. It's not it. That's the wrong one. Sorry. This one. There we go. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay, so now that we got that shit on out the way, let's go ahead and jump into chapter 6 of the Cross in the Closet, entitled The Mirror. Okay, so again, this is going to be like a podcast type of thing, so you can be listening to this while you're doing something else. If you want to just sit down and listen to somebody with a soothing voice read, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna let y'all know the read through is not gonna be perfect. I will stutter. I will have to take things back, rewind it, and say it again. I might smash two words together like Andrew Caldwell. It is what it is, okay? But we still gonna get through this. What's up, King Anubis? Yes, come through and listen. Shout out to King Anubis. We gotta, I know you don't like to plan Anubis, but it's so many lives and conversations we gotta do. I'm gonna have to go over on Station Head with you. Like, I want to get into those conversations and kind of venture out into different spaces where the opinion or perspectives are different. Okay? So, but shout out to King Anubis. Shout out to Amber. Happy 2023 to everybody. Okay, so let's get into chapter. Let me get this comment off. Hold on. There we go. Let's go into chapter 6 called The Mirror. Okay, here we go. I wake up and see the signs of spring all around me. Life, the smells of green and yellow and red, drifts into my window, just daring me to get out of bed. But I can't. Last night, I cried myself to sleep. I cried myself to sleep, and even now, the wetness from those tears have left my pillow damp to the touch. The novelty of my experiment, if there was any to begin with, has worn off. But I am still here, left to question and live out a life that does not belong to me. I cried because I was alone, and I stayed in bed because I didn't know if I'll be able to make it another day. The other night, I was with my family watching sports. The game was at a pinnacle moment where the next team that scored would most likely win, and fortunately, my team made the goal. Jesus Christ, that was a good play, I yelled. My mom sighs, and I can hear her frustration. She's next to me on the couch, sitting Indian style with the pillow behind her neck and her head leaned back. What? I asked. Do you really have to say Jesus Christ like that? Or is that just another sign that you have turned your back on God? Let me read that again. Do you really have to say Jesus Christ like that? Or is that just another sign that you've turned your back on God? It isn't so much the words she speaks as much as the tone behind them, and the implication of what she is inferring crushes me. Until that moment, my mother has not only done her best to make me feel accepted, she treated me like the daughter she never had. But in that moment, I realized it must have been a lie all along. Excuse me? I was blindsided by her words. Where did my little boy go? The one who always wanted to be a pastor and have a family. Now you're gay and sitting on my couch taking the Lord's name in vain. She had been bottling this up for weeks now, I can tell, and it was finally coming out. At least she was being honest. I was beginning to wonder if I had just imagined everything about my religious upbringing, the upbringing I had to be punished by in order to understand its true nature. If God is anything like the people who follow him, and I'm talking about you right now, Mom, then yes, I'm proud to say that I've turned away from him, and for good. I didn't wait around to see her reaction or my family to step in and mediate an argument. I stood and walked out of the room. I meant what I said. I really did. If the God I claimed to serve was anything like the people I have encountered who had had an adverse reaction to my being gay, like the me that probably would have said something very similar to what my mom just said, then I did not want to know him. And if he was like them, then all of that love talk in the Bible was most assuredly bullshit. And one could only stomach so much bullshit in one's life. The front door slammed behind me, and I walked down the stairs and up the short path to the driveway, trying to hold back tears. I was not so much upset by what she said. I was upset that she seemed to have hidden so much from me. But maybe for a woman who believed her son had hidden so much from her, it was only fair. After deciding that I had moped sufficiently enough for one day, I know it is time to get out of bed, pick myself up, and ignore the funk. I recently moved back into my dad's house in West Nashville, and the transition has been difficult. I still have boxes to unpack, but those can wait. I don't feel like unpacking. It's an odd thing to once again live in the house where I grew up. Unfortunately, the massive recession has given me no other option. The move back to my dad's house has been awkward, but also somehow cathartic. Excuse me. He is gone most of the time, always with my stepmom-to-be, and so I am alone with only my memories to keep me company. I walk into the kitchen, make a pot of coffee, and watch shadows of my former self running through the house with Nerf guns chasing my brother, or kissing ex-girlfriends on the couch, or sitting at the dinner table with a mom and dad that are still together. The phantoms command my attention more than the mug of coffee that I sip. The hot black liquid spills on my hand. Damn it. I turn on the faucet and run cold water over the wound, but the physical pain is only a fraction of the pain I feel inside thinking about the past. And now I am here to dismantle even more of that past, living in the home where the youthful sponge I was became so weighed down with dogma that I was practically broken in half. I would not be who I am if my family had not fallen apart. I know this. I would probably still be attending the church I was raised in. I try to see the good in the past, but it does not make anything easier. Nothing about life is easy, I found, but that is okay. Twisted, but okay. I wonder what other phantoms my mind would chase in this house if I had experienced more home, more normal, more opportunities to live in that blissful ignorance when I thought my parents infallible, It is hard not to dwell on these things now. I am living in the closet, cut off from a once flourishing social life, and detoxing from the most potent drug I have ever known, estrogen. My dad's cat reminds me that he needs food. I set my coffee down to fill his dish. He's a wonderful cat. He sits with me on the couch when I am watching a movie or surfing the internet, and he sleeps next to my computer while I write. He makes me smile. I walk over to the couch and log into my email, not expecting to hear anything from anyone. My inbox is not remotely what it used to be when I was in church. I feel stranded, cut off. But most of the friends I called family have not reached out or even attempted to contact me since I came out as gay. I'm desperately lonely, and it has only been 6 weeks. I see an unread message, and my interest is piqued. Jennifer has been a friend since I attended Liberty, and I have not heard from her since I came out. I brace myself for whatever the message will say and take a deep breath. It reads, Tim, you're gay? How on earth is that even possible? You are the last guy on earth I would have suspected. But I wanted to tell you that I'm happy you are. See, we've been raised in similar churches all of our lives, and we are more similar now than ever. I'm gay too. Should I say lesbian instead of gay? Either way, the whole thing is confusing to me and I haven't told anyone. I've struggled with this secret for so long that I felt lost. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you sooner. I was just worried about what Pastor Tim would think and say. You were really hardcore before, and I didn't want to let you down. When I heard the news last month, it was like a light at the end of a tunnel. I've been so depressed for so long, and it has been killing me. I am constantly overwhelmed and feel like I'm mentally and emotionally shutting down. Just wanted you to know so that you know you aren't alone. I'm proud of you. Pray for me, please. I'll see you when I visit home. Your friend, Jennifer. I stand up and start pacing. This is too much. One set of friends emails me saying they will not support my decision to be gay or even be friends until I seek repentance. And the rest have chosen to ignore me. But I never expected to hear from anyone actually living in the closet. Is everyone hiding who they are? Nothing I thought I knew about anyone is turning out to be true. Have I really been so blind and so oblivious? And worse, I feel that my lie about being gay might now hurt Jennifer because she only confided in me because she believes I am gay. She probably wouldn't have told me otherwise. I hope she learns the truth about me. I hope when she learns the truth about me, she won't feel angry. I never understood how my decisions would affect another. Lord, please help me. I cannot get the line, I didn't want to let you down out of my head. Was I really that scary before? That religious zealot who abused my friends for anything I did not agree with? Am I completely different than I have always been perceived? Am I completely different than I have always perceived myself to be? Sure, I know how to find Ecclesiastics at the sound of a whistle, and I know how to recite the books of the Bible in less than 25 seconds. But for what? My own friends do not believe I love them and even fear being honest with me. I feel like a monster. A few hours later, I drive to Tribe to meet up with Sean. As usual, I am early, but that is okay because more than anything, I am out of searching for pity, for an ear to listen and tell me how right I am for feeling so angry at my mom. It is comforting to be around people who don't judge me, who understand what I am going through and accept me regardless of our differences. Is it the way I always wish church? It is the way I always wish church could be. Read that part one more time. Okay? A few hours later, I drive to Tribe, the gay club, right? To meet up with Sean, his pretend boyfriend. As usual, I am early, but that is okay because more than anything, I am out searching for pity, for an ear to listen and tell me how right I am for feeling so angry at my mom. It is comforting to be around people who don't judge me, because remember he was judging her before, who understand what I am going through. He didn't understand what they were going through before, and accept me regardless of our differences. Before he started this experiment, he was anti-gay, anti-LGBT, anti-love. So it's just funny how the the people that he was tormenting has now become a remedy for him. Very interesting. It is the way I've always wished church could be. Now, after parking in my typical spot, I walk inside and see Will at the main bar. He's shaking a martini for someone, and as soon as he finishes, he comes over and gives me a hug. How you doing, bud? I've been better. Oh yeah? What's wrong? He asks. Well, the other night, my mom said some things that really hurt me. He looks at me sympathetically, and I don't wait for him to ask before saying, I don't know how to get past it. I just don't understand her sometimes, you know? I just don't understand how my being gay would change how she sees me so radically. Will hands me a beer and takes a sip. Okay, pass me the blunt. Where is the blunt? That's what I want. What is it so hard to understand? He pauses. Tim, have you ever tried to think about it from her perspective? His words catch me off guard. What do you mean? You know what I've gone through, but what I haven't told you is how I can accept and love my mom, even though she doesn't accept me. Will pulls out a dish towel and starts wiping down the bar. Initially, when I came out, I felt like you do now. Like she didn't love me because she doesn't accept me. But it's not that way. She loves me, so she's trying to follow her beliefs about me. Even though I don't agree with her, I can't hold it against her. Some may call her a bigot for how she treats me, but I call it being a mom. And fortunately, I was raised in the church, so I know that her motivations aren't evil. She isn't trying to, spite me or make me feel like a freak. She is really genuinely concerned. She sounds like your mom too. I mean, it sounds like your mom is too, excuse me. Well, how do you do it though? I just can't imagine being able to do that. Well, I just try to put myself in her shoes. If I believed what my mother believes, and I had a son come out as gay, I would be mortified because that would mean my blood, my offspring that I love unconditionally, was going to hell. Now think about hell from a conservative Christian's perspective. Wouldn't you do whatever you could to steer your child away from that path? I mean, it is simple enough for me. Her belief separates us, but her motivation helps me understand and accept her, even though it hurts me. Will steps away for a second and makes a drink for another customer. He finishes and walks back over. The other thing I do is try to think about what my orientation takes away from my mom. I think about what she's lost. Tim, I'm my mom's only son. Your mom only has two sons. Think about how much it must hurt them to know they won't be able to go to our weddings or hold and babysit our biological children. It couldn't be easy. And let's be realistic. Our country probably won't come around for a while. Our moms will never have the normal life they dreamed of. We don't have to agree with their beliefs, but we can sympathize with what they have to give up so they can be... I had to read that again, y'all, sorry. We don't have to agree with their beliefs, but we can sympathize with what they have to give up so that we can be ourselves. So what you're saying is that they care more about what they're losing than they are about us being gay. Yes and no. See, their spiritual beliefs about our lives and their personal sense of loss that is a result of our lives make them act this way. Try not to take it personally. I truly believe that it will get better for both of us if we just give our moms time. I understand and agree with you for the most part, but I still can't help but feel gross that a a religious belief would give someone cause to treat me this way, especially my own mother. Look, we live in difficult times. Be angry at the belief all you want, but the second you stop seeing people as people and see them only for their beliefs, you become guilty too. Look, I've been through hell over the past few years, but that much I've learned. I'm not just gay Will, and my mom isn't just uber conservative Christian mom, you know? So does that mean I have to interact with people who believe I am abominable? I ask. Hell no! I'm just trying to say that if you come into contact with anyone who holds these negative spiritual beliefs about you, don't forget to smile and show them the respect you wish you were shown. Karma, nonviolence, the golden rule, and especially grace, okay? These are all universal principles that will give you peace. Our families are captive to a more conservative way of thinking about things. That's the unfortunate part of this whole thing, you know. We are really slaves to an idea that hurts us. Wow. I came to Tribe to vent, and instead of blindly supporting me, my childhood friend is trying to help me think from a different perspective. Let me read that again, because that right there is the key I wish more people was on. I came to Tribe to vent, and instead of blindly supporting me, my childhood friend, who is really gay, okay, Will in the book, is trying to help me think from a different perspective. Wow. He has shown me that we can empathize without budging on our worldview, and that if we do not empathize, we are as careless as the people whom we are at odds with. Wow. Being a second-class citizen feels like being a 10th-class citizen. If I were really gay, I feel like my life would become such an issue for people that I would be constantly exhausted. Gays, lesbians, and LGBT+ are looked at as different, looked at as perverse, and the label alone seems to elicit an association with the lowest dregs of society, morally speaking, you know? No one wants to be thought of that way. Is it really so unrealistic to let people's actions speak for them rather than the stigmatized label? Experiencing the other side of prejudice is more painful than I anticipated. Worse, I feel as though I am constantly being faced with my own face in the mirror. The image of a Pharisee who has not thought to look past labels and orientations to see people for who they really are. Had I not gone through with this experiment, I probably would have always believed the lie that I really am better than the other, and my life would have been characterized by a shallower understanding of humanity. At least now I can see what I really look like, and Lord willing, I may yet change the image staring back at me. And ladies and gentlemen, that is chapter 6, called The Mirror, okay? And I like that throughout this chapter, Tim is going again, he's dealing with the things that a lot of LGBT people, especially those who come from very conservative religious households, even me. I grew up in a Baptist household. My father was a staunch deacon in the Baptist church. We were at church all the time. So the fact that he came out and now he's on the other side of the oppression, on the other side of the denigrating of people, on the other side, he's having a hard time dealing with it. And again, he's only been doing this for 6 weeks. Imagine somebody who's been gay all their life, you know? And it's very interesting too, because he went to Tribe, like he said, and to talk to Will, his gay friends from, childhood friends. And the fact that instead of once again be like, yeah, your mom is this and she's stupid and she dumb and whoop-de-whoop-de-woo, instead of just participating in the fear, Because once again, Will was saying, when you look at it from her perspective and you have more of an open-minded, okay, nuanced and objective standpoint and be able to work through your own emotions, you realize that your mother, the parents, the friends, the religious institutions, especially those close to you, they don't want you to go to hell. And I think that's the thing, like, once again, the fear that you're going to go to hell, the fear of I failed as a parent, the fear of, oh, what are people going to think about me as a parent? Am I going to, like, is my credibility now destroyed because my child is LGBT? And it's crazy, Will, again, being on the other side, because again, Tim is struggling with this and Will's been there. He's been able to work through his emotional pain and say, you know what, I can really see what's going on with my mom, and I don't judge her for that because I understand this from a fear perspective. And if I give into that fear perspective with her, then I'm joining into that low vibrational type of energy, that low vibrational type of ideology. Like, once again, we're all playing into it. Again, Will could have sat there and allowed Tim to vent and, you know, agree with him and not give him any sort of different perspective. But the fact that Will did, that's why I be telling y'all, self-love is amazing. Like, self-love is, like, to me, literally the cheat code of life. Because what happens is that no matter what happens outside of you, because things outside of you will change, and there are things outside of you that you can't control, and that means close to you as well. You can always have the choice to choose peace and understanding within yourself, and then display that on the outside. So, just very interesting. Chapter 6. Okay, very interesting. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and have like a small little break real quick. Okay, and we will be back for chapter 7, okay, entitled Revive Cafe. Let's get into it. I'll be back 1 second.
Sexual. Some people are straight, and some people are gay. Maybe I'm just sexual. 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 Some prefer the top, and some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. We're all just sexual. Sexual. Yeah. Hey, we're not in the 60s, but yet we're talking about the same things. So why are we having these same discussions? It's so interesting that you find it fascinating. Who I'm sleeping with and what I'm doing. Why do we all need these labels? Your character is all that matters to me. You shouldn't let ideology invade us. Make you stop loving family and friends. Some people are straight. Ooh, yeah. Some people are gay. Ooh, yeah. Maybe I'm just sexual. 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 Some prefer the top, and some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. Just sexual. Some people are straight. Ooh, yeah. Some people are gay. Oh, yeah. Baby, I'm just sexual. Baby, I'm just sexual. Sexual. Ooh, yeah. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the top. Some prefer the bottom. Some prefer the bottom. But we're all just sexual. Sexual. But we're all just sexual. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That part spicy, that part, okay? Ikarabo shande iskatai. Let me tell you something about that weed, baby. That weed is something else. Let me pull up the scripture. I got the scripture in my my phone. Hold on 1 second, cause you didn't hit my spirit with that one, spicy. Okay, where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? I got it right here. Genesis 1:29, baby. Then God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the surface of all the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed, it shall be food for you. So, with that being said, let's get back into the damn song, okay? Ikarabo shande iskata.
Why do we all need these favors? Is he gay or straight or somewhere in between? Yeah. Don't let ideology and favors make you treat your brother or your sister differently. Yeah. Some people are straight. Some people are straight. Some people are gay. Some people are gay. Maybe I'm just sexual. Maybe I'm just sexual.
Y'all, I gotta learn how to slide this stuff better. Okay. Come, hey, see how the Lord work? Extra smoke. Come on, extra smoke dragon. Okay, so I'm talking about. I feel like I'm around my people now. Okay? I told y'all, baby, that y'all better smoke. Look, y'all better leave the alcohol alone and spark up a damn joint or something from the earth and get it, okay? So anyway, for those of you who want to know, the name of that song that was playing is called "Sexual" by B Slade. Shout out to B Slade. B Slade is the GOAT for real. Like, oh my God, he's amazing. That is the theme song for this read through, okay, called "The Cross in the Closet." And now we're going to go forth into the last chapter of this live, which is chapter 7, entitled, where's it at? Revive Cafe. Okay, so once again, let's not forget, we just read in chapter 6 that Tim, again with this experiment, is struggling. He is not gay himself, but he has decided to live life for 1 year as a gay man just to understand the other side for real, and really walk in that Christ energy, that love energy, that empathetic energy, open-minded energy. And he's struggling. He went to Tribe, which is the gay club that he decided to host his experiment at, and how he was uncomfortable at first and just felt very nasty if you read the previous chapters. But now he's in a space, in a place where he feels accepted, he feels loved, he doesn't feel judged. And instead of his best friend Will, who's the bartender there, joining into his trauma bond and his pain body, he was able to help Tim see a different perspective in reference to those who oppose his quote-unquote lifestyle. And that kind of goes like what I'm doing. Like, I love that now I'm having conversations with individuals and people who may not agree with me, who do not like me based off of ideology and belief, and really doing my Christ part to acknowledge the humanity in them. And even if they don't acknowledge the humanity in me, I still acknowledge the humanity in them. I did my part. And that's all we can really do, is our part. And when you walk in love, I'm telling you, again, things radically transform and shift, okay? So let's get into it. Chapter 7, Revive Cafe. I never could have anticipated the social complexities within the gay community of Nashville. It is rich in people from all different walks of life. There is no one set of beliefs or opinions, no one particular political party to which everyone subscribes, and no particular religion for that matter. There is no hierarchy, and there does not need to be. Everyone seems to be at peace with one another. I am unaccustomed to such a place of coexistence. My life is changing as the seasons change, and as winter slowly becomes spring and the weather outside begins drawing people from their homes, so does Nashville's humble gay district change. During the winter months, the community seemed only to come out at night, but now, only making my way to Church Street as the sun finally sets, I feel like an outsider. The quaint strip of businesses come alive, and I see families with 2 dads or moms enjoying each other's company for story time at the bookstore or concerts at the cafe. For this reason, I began applying for jobs in the neighborhood over the past few weeks. It is just another Thursday when my phone rings. The number is not one I recognize. To my surprise, it is the manager of Revive Cafe. Revive is perhaps the coolest Java spot in the city, and the idyllic bohemian decor meshes nicely with the flair that gays seem to bring to everything they touch. Okay? Boom, bitch, show him. If I get the job, I will finally be able to work and spend full-time hours in the community. It would be my own rainbow-colored avatar experience and a much more casual opportunity to finally ask the questions I have never been able to ask at the bars. Revive Cafe, virgin drinks, hot treats, and happy endings. The sign on the front window says it all. Applying at Revive was not as easy as I had anticipated, While filling out the application, the realization struck me that something as simple as applying for a job had somehow become more difficult than ever before. I mean, sure, my name, address, my phone number were all the same. My social security number had not changed, and my work experience looked pretty damned good on paper. But it was not until I reached the education history that I started wondering if I would be found out. Could I really put down Pioneer Christian Academy for my high school, and even more nerve-wracking, admit I attended Liberty University? Could you imagine the irony? Applying at a gay cafe in the heart of the gay district, knowing that my college was founded by the man responsible for the moral majority. It took me a full minute to write Liberty University on the application, and without thinking, I drew an arrow from the name of the college to the margin of the paper and wrote, "Please don't hold this against me." I walk outside of the bookstore thinking I would never possibly get the job. I answered the phone, still crossing my fingers. "Is this Tim?" Yes. And then there is a moment of silence, followed by the sound of paper shuffling. I just wanted to say that I won't hold it against you," the man says, laughing. "This is Brent from Revive Cafe. Yeah, I have your application, and I wanted to see if you'd come in for an interview this afternoon." "I would love to," I say, utterly shocked. 4 o'clock works for you?" "Of course." "Great. See you at 4. I press end and smile. Finally, my past is doing something to help my project. I arrive 15 minutes early and sit on the couch next to the front entrance. There are only a handful of people drinking coffee and reading, and I feel nervous. A minute or two passes, and Brent makes his way over to me. "Tim?" he asks. Give me a few minutes, and I'll grab your paperwork, and we can go to the patio." A few months ago, the mere thought of working in a cafe frequented by a predominantly gay and lesbian clientele would have left me nauseated. Now, I feel excited, hopeful, and the anticipation of working here has reinvigorated me. Besides, the Christian friends and community I spent years building seem to have forgotten about me. So many people have disappeared from my life that it is almost as though they never existed. Fair weather friends? No, just people firmly stuck in their bubbles, I think. On the other hand, the people I am meeting now seem to accept me more than anyone ever has. Perhaps that is because the gay men I spend so much time with don't judge me by my piety, but let my actions speak for themselves, If I make them laugh, they like me for my sense of humor. If I am kind, they like that I am sensitive. Those are earned actions. It is nice to not be judged for my gauged ears or for the fact that I didn't read as much of the Bible as my fellow parishioner. It is nice not to be judged by how well I can present a righteous facade. Sean said it would be, Sean said it would happen. He said I would lose friends, but not to lose heart because I would meet a host of new ones. And he said I would feel a certain level of authenticity that I hadn't before. Once again, his counsel has proven correct. I hope I get the job so we can, go out and celebrate. After all, that is what boyfriends do. Ready? Would you like a latte while we interview? Of course. Brent grabs a large mug, and 30 seconds later, after pouring the shots and steaming the milk, he hands me my first free latte. I could get used to this. It is definitely a perk. We walk outside to the patio and sit at the table closest to the door. The sun is shining, but it is still relatively cool outside. It is a perfect weather for an interview. First, I wanted to say that I loved your application. After reading 60 or so of them, I saw yours and it woke me up. Thank you. I was worried you would read my education history and I'd be blacklisted. I take a sip of the latte and the creamy liquid tastes smooth. So, Tim, what is your story? Brent asks. Well, I don't want to keep you here all day, I try to think about how I can possibly answer. I was raised in a very conservative church and went to a very conservative churches. I just came out in January and I thought it would be healthy for me to be around the community I was always taught to hate, to be around my people. That sounds like a really good idea. How is your family handling everything? He asked solemnly. Okay, I guess. They haven't shunned me or cut me off, but my mom and dad keep asking if I will consider therapy. My brother and his wife have been really cool so far. That's good to hear. You would be amazed at how bad some families react, he says, looking down at the application. So I've heard. What makes you want to work at Revive? Why did you apply to be a barista? I just want to be around people. I've always loved coffee, so I thought making coffee might be just as enjoyable. The interview seems to flow smoothly for another half hour or so, and in the process, I feel a strong kinship with Brent. We spend more time cracking jokes and laughing about the people walking by than simply asking and answering questions. As we wrap up the interview, I know I will feel terrible if I do not get the job. I feel called to this place. Tim, you have a great personality and sense of humor. I think you would be perfect for the job, but I still have a few other people to interview. Give me a day or two, and I will call you and let you know if you have the job. He touches my shoulder reassuringly, and we walk back inside. I walk over to the counter and set the empty mug down in the dirty dish tub. A group of 4 men are sitting nearby around a small table playing cards. Brett! Yes, Kenny? You better hire this one. He's hunky. I blush. You might get your way if you stop yelling across the room at me, Brent says with a laugh. Those are the Bears. They meet here pretty regularly. What is a bear? Hold on, y'all, my bad. Sorry. What is a bear? I ask. Wow. Tim, you have a lot to learn, and you had better learn fast because you are going to be target number 1 for them. Brent laughs, but I still don't get it. I will have to look it up online when I get home. You better hope your private history is on, because baby, this shit is gonna pop up. Hope Jesus don't walk in. Jesus walk in. Oh, how you doing, Jesus? I wish you would have called me before you came in. Talk to you soon. Sorry, this is Tim talking. Talk to you soon. Thank you for giving me an interview. It means a lot, I say. Brent winks at me, and I walk out the door. If I get this job, not only will I be able to talk with people over coffee, I will actually be the one making the coffee. Oh shit, I can barely contain myself. I hope the sound is good. The sound still good, y'all? Want to make sure. Okay. The next night, I am standing on Josh's porch, smoking cloves and telling him all about the interview. It is hard to speak in complete sentences, and Josh seems happy for me. He laughs when I tell him what the guys were saying as I left. Like I've always said, you've got bottom tattooed on your forehead. He laughs. I ignore his teasing and take another drag of my clove cigarette. The phone rings. The name, a Revive Cafe, pops up on the caller ID, and I take a deep breath and answer. Hello? Hey, Tim. It's Brent. Just wanted to let you know that you got the job and you can start tomorrow. Seriously? I think you'll be a perfect fit here, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Me too. I can barely contain my excitement. Come by at noon to fill out paperwork, and you will be working from 3 p.m. to close. Perfect, I say. Josh is smiling and pats my back. See you then. He hangs up the phone, and I scream. Damn, are you sure you really aren't gay? Josh says, laughing at my reaction. And once again, I'm ignoring his friendly teasing. I drive home and get ready for bed, grateful for the good news I have received. But the excitement is short-lived. I look across the room and see the Pharisee sitting at my desk, tapping a pencil on the cover of an old theology textbook from Liberty. Congratulations. You get to work at a cafe that's attached to a sex shop. It's attached to a bookstore and a sex shop. So what? Making coffee for perverted people all you want. It won't change anything. There is no goodness in people that do not and follow Christ. And you, of all people, Tim, should know this. I don't believe that anymore. Bullshit. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You are just caught up in the emotions of this whole thing. Eventually, the spirit and your conscience will win out. At least I pray they will. You know what? I'm getting sick of you telling me what is... I can't even talk. Andrew Carver trying to ride my tongue. I'm getting sick of you telling me what is and isn't true. I'm finally seeing things as they are. And no, I don't have all the answers, but I know that I'm on the right track. Homosexuality is unnatural. See, you might think you love your new friends, but you are forgetting that these good people will be going to hell. You should be warning them of the consequences of their sin, not serving them coffee. Well, maybe just serving them coffee is all the Lord requires of me. Maybe loving them and listening to them and asking them about their lives, maybe that's what Jesus would do. Next to a sex shop. Have you read the Gospels? I roll over in bed and try to close my eyes. Whenever good things happen, I always end up arguing the merits of it all. It is exhausting. I close my eyes and think back to the last time I worked with an openly gay man, and I am overcome with grief. Okay, yes, it sounds good. Great, thank you. Just want to be sure. Thank you. The last time I worked with an openly gay co-worker, I was 16 and working at a neighborhood fast food restaurant. The gay man was my manager. His name was Todd, and from day one, I did not like him. Not only did I not like him, I felt a subconscious pull to make his life miserable. His voice was nasally and much higher than I believe a grown man's voice should be. And he a handlebar handlebar mustache straight out of the 80s porn flick. Not no what's that nigga name? Ron Jeremy, Lord. Todd was a prime target for my teenage aggression. One of my best friends had gotten me the job. And though he disliked Todd for different reasons, he was agnostic and an anarchist who waged war of passive aggression against any authority in his life, we both found a common enemy in our manager. So, we concocted a plan. We decided to wait for the moment Todd did anything that could be construed as sexual harassment, and then we would blackmail him in exchange for job security. My opportunity came one night while doing dishes. The sink was located in a very narrow hallway, and Todd, attempting to squeeze past me, inadvertently brushed my backside with his crotch. I immediately accused him of thrusting, which he had not done, and because I was a minor, he knew he had no defense. He could lose his job. What started with gross lies against an innocent man's character became bullying on par with any you might read about in a newspaper. Together, my friend and I made our poor manager's life a living hell. We urinated on the door handle of Todd's car and vandalized it with eggs and cellophane. We purposely messed up his orders to make him look bad in front of customers. We incited others against him every shift we worked. We did everything we could to add stress to his life. And to his job, One afternoon, I was ringing people up on the register, and I saw Todd out of the corner of my eye. He was cleaning a counter with a disinfectant and restocking condiments for the dinner rush. I saw him and felt my blood begin to boil. Why did he choose to be gay? Why would anyone want to be a sissy? I didn't just dislike him because my Bible said he was abominable. I didn't like him because he was different. See, I was the wannabe jock, and he was the queer, middle-aged fast food manager. I grabbed the microphone that we used to call for backup when we were busy, and I pressed the button. The speaker shrilled the abrasive whistle of old technology, and I took a breath. "Paging the faggot," I said into the microphone, "paging the faggot." Other teenagers in the crowded dining area burst into laughter, and I saw Todd's face shift with emotion. He ran for the microphone and sent me outside on break with a wild look in his eyes. His lip quivered, and his eyes filled with tears. Eventually, my antics lost their appeal and I became bored. I just left the restaurant and began a new job working for a hat store in the mall. 6 months later, my friend and fellow bully came to visit me at work. He greeted me with a smile, but the look on his face was somber. "What's up?" I asked. "Todd's dead." He took a deep breath. Heart attack. Todd was a smoker, but they say it also had to do with an extremely high level of stress. It could really only be stress and smoking. Todd rarely ate the food. Let me read it again. It could really only be stress and smoking. Tom rarely ate the food from the restaurant. He worked out, or at least talked like he did. He wasn't overweight. I stood there thinking about the news, processing it as I was able. "What do you think?" my friend asked. I think it's sad that, he's burning in hell right now." He snickered at my response. What I really wanted to say was that, although I was only partially to blame for Todd's death, I felt wholly responsible. And then I went back to work, my friend left, and I buried my memories of Todd and my profound guilt for torturing another human being. I do not think I am able to describe the pain I feel right now, looking back on those memories. Only now do I understand that he was a child of God, and that I will be the one to answer for my immaturity and cruelty. Excuse me, I had to burp me, excuse me. I am to blame, and I will never forgive myself for my actions against a man whose only offense was his orientation. Why am I including this, particular memory? I'm not sure, except to say that I will always live with that guilt. It is my cross to bear, the consequences of thoughtless actions and a despicable mentality. And maybe, just maybe, one day I will be able to make amends. I have only one life to live, and I will always remember the warmth and kindness of the man who did me no wrong. Rest in peace, Todd. I never fully will. Finally, I fall asleep, knowing that tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow is the beginning of a new season in my experiment and in my life. It is a season of revival. Not the kind of, revival televangelists speak about before asking for your money, but a revival inside of me. I hope I continue to see where I have gone wrong, and perhaps I will have the opportunity to atone for my sins. Spring has arrived, and it has brought with it a gift. For the first time this year, I do not feel so afraid. Life has reached a sort of plateau, and I feel a sense of normal again. I even feel normal being known by the label of gay. Each day brings a certain amount of simple acceptance. I have stepped out of my life and into another. So far, the stereotypes I expected have not been applicable. Gays and lesbians, bisexual, transgender people. Of the hundreds I have met, no two are alike. And tomorrow, I will have the opportunity to meet and learn from even more of them. Meanwhile, the label of gay has forced me to think more deeply about things I probably never would have otherwise. My homophobia has been replaced with questions. Now, my focus is on discovering how many things I have always claimed to know are actually false. And most important, will I be able to relinquish what I know if experience shows me otherwise? Let me read that again, bitch. And most important, will I be able to relinquish what I know if experience shows me otherwise? Maybe not. But at least I'm finally open to the idea that I may have been wrong all along. And ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of chapter 7 and part 1, entitled Genesis. Let me get this other thing up quick. Hold on. Where we at? Right here. Okay. Listen, y'all. How did y'all feel about that? Well, I said listen, y'all, and then ask y'all a question. How did y'all feel about this read through? Chapter 7, I really, it's again, he's the way the chapter 7 ended, just with that little part that I reread, it sounds so perfect, because once again, like he's traversing in uncharted territory because of experiences. Again, he grew up in a conservative ideology and viewpoint that gave him cardinal sins, and he used the book, the Bible, and the viewpoint at that time as a shield to kind of project his own fear about other people and say, nope, God said this, Leviticus said this, Matthew says this, Roman, all these scriptures says this, so you can't get mad at me because this is what God said. But him even applying for the job at Revival Cafe, and when it came down to educational history to put down, he was afraid to put, before then he would have been happy. He would have been excited, proud to put down Liberty University. Because I know that I serve a God. I'm a God warrior. I'm a God supremacist. I'm a champion for Christ. And here it is now. He is afraid to put down something that he was quote unquote proud of. And even though he put that down, out of 60 or 70 so applications, his application jumped out to Brent, to Brent, who is the manager of Revival Cafe. That's a Cafe Revival. Andrew Caldwell, back your ass up, bitch. You ain't gonna get me, girl. I'm not getting all the way on your shit. But, and that, instead of going through the interview process and the application, interview process or whatever, like, he was able to reach the person's humanity. And now he has the opportunity to meet these LGBT plus people that for so long he was taught and indoctrinated to believe that these were despicable people, perverse people, abominable people, people who don't deserve love, people who are third of a person. Like Tim said, 10th, 10th level citizen, 10th degree citizen. And that Tim is still battling his own inner homophobia, because once again, he speaks to his own self, the shadow self, the Pharisees in him, the staunch, the staunch, religious, evangelical standpoint that was telling him, like, you really about to serve coffees to gays and it's a text to a sex shop. Where's God? God ain't nowhere in this. The Pharisee is telling him, you are doing these people a disservice. You are not bringing people God. You're not bringing them judgment. You're not bringing them wrath. You're not bringing them a warning for them to change. I mean, hell, even your own parents, Tim, told you that you should consider therapy because they still believe something is wrong with you, and that by the grace of God, you can be healed from this. And in the beginning chapters that we've read, that Pharisees was very strong in his mind. And here it is now, Tim is challenging the Pharisees, saying, well, I think Christ would want me to still serve them. Christ would still want me to talk to them. Christ would still want me to love them. And that's why I say, in my opinion, a lot of people who believe in religion, they bypass Jesus to get to God because they want to get to the power. But when you go through Christ, it helps to teach you mental, emotional, and spiritual discipline and balancing to be able to utilize that power righteously. And according to the experiment that Tim did in this book and just the experiences of other people's lives, at large, the church has not used the Bible in a way that is affirming and loving. They have used it in a destructive manner to, well, this person who Tim, again, the author of this book and this experiment, who was not really gay, but just walking in the shoes, and that's even just barely scratching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the LGBT experience, but to experience the discrimination, the hatred. And it ain't mild, we're talking about extreme hatred. People literally walking away from him, not being his friend anymore because of him being gay. People ignoring him and writing him out of his life. And then on top of that, when he was trying to go to sleep, how the past came to haunt him. That's why I said we have to deal with the past, because the past will deal with your ass. And that's exactly what it did with him at the end of this chapter. Going back to when he was a teenager and just his hatred that was inside of him against Todd, an individual who did no wrong to him, who was simply living his experience, and how they made his life a living hell that also contributed to his death as well. It may not be the whole thing, but partially. But again, because of this experiment that Tim is dealing with and going through, there is immense guilt and shame, and I'm so glad that he added that into the book. And that's why I say, for people who have evangelical thought processes, or not even just evangelical, but fear-based perspectives about people, why not educate yourself about the people you're afraid of so that you can become knowledgeable? Because what does it say? God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and a sound mind. You have to be able to understand. And again, Christ walked with those who were deemed deplorable. Christ communed with those that were thought to be perverse. Christ associated with people that were deemed to be sick and immoral and unworthy of God's love. Christ was the light to say, no, it's not, it's over here. And I'm going to turn my light up so bright. And the gag is that when you turn up your light on love, baby, it illuminates everything. And guess what? Guess what, baby? That light going to illuminate on the Pharisee side too. That light is going to show up and illuminate some things on the religious side too. Because once again, love is truth. What did that one movie say? The famous quote? I want the truth. You want the truth. You can't handle the truth because the truth will set you free. It's about how free do you want to be. I am grateful for Timothy for this book because once again, he did the Christ thing, the empathetic thing, the love thing. He was able to connect to the mind and the heart. That's why Christ kept talking about by the renewing of your mind and not to harden your heart. And to marry your mind and your heart together. That's how you manifest. But look how the manifestation happens. See what happens when fear and hatred come together? How destructive that is. And the people can't even explain the damn destruction. It's just fucking destruction. They have no reason for it at all. And when you operate in love, baby, truth gonna ring in everything. That's why love is in everything. We have to be the ones to remember that. So like I said, shout out to Timothy Kurek for this book. Shout out for him taking time that he will never get back to understand love a little bit more deeply, to sacrifice, to understand what love really is, and to share that experience with other people. And I encourage other people to read this book. Those individuals who are struggling with people in their life who are LGBT, who they don't understand, read this book so you can get an understanding from somebody who stood in the same ideology and perspective as you. And then follow that bridge. Follow that journey that this person is on. Because they're walking in the shoes of LGBT people, not just to help themselves understand, but to help you understand as well. So I'm grateful for that. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to Miss Gabby. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you. Shout out to Queen Amber. Yes, your team just won. And you said you something about school. You said about school. You said something about school or something. Yeah, shout out to Miss English. Shout out to Spicy. Shout out to Extra Smoke Dragon, okay? Yes, for the smoke. I love me to smoke. Shout out to King Anubis. Baby, shout out to Miss Ann. Shout out to those who once again are in the bushes. Shout out to those peeking in, and shout out to the replay gang. Please like this video. You don't have to share it if you don't want to. That's fine. But I ask that you please like it, because when you like the video, it helps me to get up in the YouTube algorithms. I don't even have 1,000 subscribers, so it's a very small amount and group of people who do consistently watch my content. So please help me get up there by liking. Also, if you are subscribed, make sure when you hit that notification bell that it hits all, because y'all, sometimes I just be going live when I feel it in my spirit. I just feel compelled. I'm in a place now where once again I'm just being led by spirit, and it's scary. It is scary because you don't know what's going to happen, but that's also a beautiful thing, because you have the opportunity to create something beautiful and wonderful. And that even if the experience is scary, that God is in here somewhere. That the fear is just an illusion. And do I love myself enough to see through the illusion and see the God in there? So yes, please make sure y'all do that for me. And I'm going to leave you with our outro song, which is called Language of Tears by B. Slade. Again, B. Slade is absolutely fucking amazing. I rock with his energy. You can find this song. I don't think it's on any like audio or music streaming sites. I think they kind of took it down, but you can find this song on YouTube. Again, it is his cover of Tears by another gospel singer. And I hope that you all enjoy your New Year's. And I will see y'all again later. Peace.
Feeling so lonely, feeling so down when you need someone. No one's there to be found. The pain inside can't be expressed verbally, so you cry on your pillow. You don't know what you're saying, but I know an interpreter of tears. And when your voice you cry, it lends no opinion. Oh, God understands the language of tears. He knows all about all your pain and your fears when you're right and you're wrong, when your friends are gone. He's a shoulder to cry on. God understands your tears. You can't keep it bottled inside, so just let it out. In God you confide. That's what He's there for. He knows all your pain. It's alright to cry. Trouble come in the morning, but I'm no interpreter of your tears. When your voice will cry, there's no ear. Oh, God understands the language of tears. He knows all about all your pains and your fears when you're right and you're wrong, when your friends are gone. He's a shoulder to cry on. God understands your tears. He understands the language of tears. Oh, the language of tears. Not crying so many tears when you're right, when you're wrong, when your friends are gone. He's a shoulder to cry on. God understands your tears. Yeah, yes. He knows all about your pain. Oh, yes, He does. He understands your tears. It's alright to cry.